Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most infidelity isn't just about selfish men, but rather a society that demands monogamy but refuses to address desire, which is natural for men. If monogamy was natural, why do we have multi-billion-dollar industries that cater to the need of men and their desires? Let's talk about the real reason why we have so many infidelities in the Western world. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew, and this is part 2 of the pros and cons of polygamy. I feel like in that first video, I spent a lot of time sort of like looking at the history of polygamy and just kind of looking at different countries over other side of the world that practices polygamy today. I want to look at the Western society, and especially here in America, and how it impacts us men in this day and age, right? The reason for this video, my primary reason for wanting to make a video on this subject, is simply because I have seen it with my own eyes, right? I'm sure you guys have all seen it too. The amount of men who have built empires, right? That might be an exaggeration, but they've built a good life. They've built a wonderful life for themselves and their families, and it all comes crashing down. They lose it all because of infidelity. And oftentimes with infidelity, what we look at is the act itself. Oh, that was such a selfish thing to do. You are a monster for doing that. And that's usually how it's looked at. That's usually how the men are judged based upon their actions. But people never look at the reason behind the action. That almost is non-existent. Nobody talks about the reason behind the action, right? The honest truth is that there are plenty of circumstances that can lead a man to step out, right? When it comes on to infidelity, there are men that are just wired for multiple partners. These are men who lack the ability to have self-control. They just cannot be satisfied by one woman. Now, with that, I will say that naturally and biologically speaking, that is how us men are wired. We are visual creatures, right? We like to look and we love to see the beauty of a woman. And when we see it, naturally, you want to go after it, right? That's just how we're naturally wired. Some of us have self-control. Some of us have the ability to conform to societal construct and to moral principles and compass. Some of us don't. Some of us lack that ability and that skill set to be able to control ourselves, right? And so when these situations occur, like cheating, it's always the act itself. It's always the man is judged by the act, and very seldomly does anybody ever take a moment and look at or even think about the reason why. So let's break that down, right? Let's look at it. Beyond the fact that that's how we're wired as men, to desire multiple partners, right? To desire a lot of women. I mean, if you even look at it from a biological perspective, a man produces how many millions of sperm per day, whereas a woman is born with a limited amount of egg. That alone should tell you something, right? But beyond the biology of it, right? Let's look at it. When a man chooses a woman, whether in marriage or just to be being in an exclusive relationship, so boyfriend girlfriend type situation, or a husband wife type situation, right? When you choose a woman, there are certain expectations that comes with that, right? Some of those expectations are she's going to be loyal, you're going to be loyal, yes, and faithful to each other, yes, but there are fundamental expectations that comes with the choosing of this woman. Sex is one of them, intimacy, right? That's an expectation. That is a fundamental expectation from a man of a woman. She's going to satisfy you intimately. That's what it is, the unspoken and also spoken expectation, right? From the beginning of time. It hasn't changed and it will never change. But in a lot of unions, with circumstances, sometimes people grow apart from each other intimately and they don't do anything to sort of close that gap and reconnect. Life gets in the way. You have children, you have a career, you have jobs, you have businesses, whatever the case might be, but life gets in the way and over time creates a gap between the two of you on an intimate level, right? People tell stories of them becoming essentially roommates rather than a married couple, rather than friends, right? And so with that separation that has developed, you find that intimacy takes the back burner. It takes the back seat. In today's world and society and just the way how life is designed, with everything that people have to do to survive, it is so easy, if you're not consciously thinking about it and making it a priority, it is so easy for self-care to fall by the wayside. Your own health, your own care, your own life just fall by the wayside, let alone focusing on your marriage and your relationship, right? If I don't have time for myself and to take care of myself and to focus on the things that matter to me, chances are I probably won't have time for someone else, right? And so in that dynamic, oftentimes intimacy goes out the window, right? Either it doesn't happen at all in some cases, or it very seldomly happens, right? Now, because of how men are built, programmed, and wired, there's no situation where we are going to not desire intimacy, not want intimacy, right? We're always going to want intimacy. That's just how we're made. And so in that situation where you're not getting the intimacy that you feel that you need and deserve, and even more so if you have a partner that is not emotionally intelligent and aware enough to recognize that, hey, this is something that needs to be fixed, and make an effort to fix it, but rather ignore your needs and just have no care whatsoever in how it's negatively impacting you as the man. What does that do? It creates the environment for infidelity, right? First, it creates resentment. So you start to resent her, and she probably in return starts to resent you as well, based upon how you express your resentment. And then shortly thereafter, here comes that room for infidelity, because she's not satisfying your needs, and therefore you start to develop that notion of looking elsewhere. And a lot of times too, what female don't seem to understand, a lot of time it's not just about sex for men. It's not just about, oh, you just want to go have a good time. Because sometimes what happens in marriages and relationships, the separation, it's not just about the physical intimacy, it's this emotional intimacy that's not occurring. You're not getting that either. And so there's just no connection whatsoever, whether physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, there's just no connection. And so that easily pushes a man to start to think, at the very least to start to think about looking elsewhere, right? Especially a man that is not deeply spiritual, because that's a whole nother conversation. When you're deeply rooted in spirituality, even if you're in a situation where things are not going how you expect them to go intimately, that kind of keeps you grounded, right? It keeps you grounded. And instead of thinking to go step out and go find somebody else, you're thinking other thoughts, right? More healthy thoughts. So that's one of the primary reasons why a lot of men go out and go try to find that, intimacy and that connection elsewhere, right? The other part of that is the expectations, right? In modern world, modern society, modern relationships and all of that, right? There's a societal expectation, and that expectation is that you're going to stick with this one person, right? Again, based on how we're wired and designed, that's not in our DNA, right? That is not in our DNA. That is a societal construct that we are expected to abide by. Yet, you have these billion-dollar industry, strip clubs, escorts, the list goes on, right? PORN, the list goes on. Why are these things there, right? It's a double standard. It's like you are expected to get in a marriage, be faithful, stick to your partner, blah, blah, blah. Yet they create all these other distractions. What are they doing? They're catering to the desire or desires of men. They are catering to the natural desires of men, which is to have a variety, which is to want more, right? Now, again, to be clear, I am not here to advocate for infidelity. No, absolutely not. So please don't get it twisted. Don't get it wrong. I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, because that's how we're naturally wired, that's what we're supposed to do. No, I personally love peace. Peace is the most important thing in my life. I love peace. And I can tell you, sticking to one woman, choosing the right partner and sticking to that one person brings about a tremendous amount of peace than what multiple women will bring. So I'm not advocating for, right? I'm simply saying the quiet part out loud, right? The quiet part that most people ignore and don't want to talk about, which is looking at the simple fact that men do what they do because of their natural desires, and it's influenced by different factors. I mentioned one factor, which is not getting that intimate connection from their wives, from their partners at home, and not being able to break through that barrier, right? Whether through conversation, through therapy, through counseling, whatever, not being able to break through the barrier. And so that leads you to, in some cases, start thinking about it, and in other cases, actually doing it, right? So that's one thing. And so with the natural wiring of a man, it creates an internal conflict in every guy. Every single guy will tell you there's an internal conflict. Even the ones that are on their best behaviors and making good decisions and all that, there's an internal conflict, because it doesn't matter how beautiful your woman is. It doesn't matter how amazing she is. There's always going to be somebody else that's more beautiful than she is. There's always going to be someone that is more amazing, more awesome than she is, right? So every guy experiences an internal conflict, and it is discipline, self-control, emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, it's spirituality, it's all of those things synergetically working together that keeps a man faithful, and also, keep him at home, right? It's all of those things combined. And then you also have the other factors such as peace, right? If you want to give up your peace, go cheat and go get caught and then see what happens, right? There's also the legal factor, and then it's the mental and emotional toll that infidelity brings, not only on your partner but on yourself, right? Because when you go out and do your thing and get caught and you ruin your marriage and ruin your family, right? You're leaving a trail of destruction. Your children are going to be negatively impacted by it. You're going to ruin this woman mentally and emotionally. You're going to ruin yourself mentally and emotionally. Family members, close family members and relatives that are closely involved in your family, in your life and your marriage and all that, they're going to be impacted, right? So for me, it's not a matter of not wanting to appease nature, but it's all of these other factors that comes in when you decide to do that I find to be very important and worthwhile analyzing before you make your decision. And so I wish that the men that struggle with being faithful, just, not being able to just stick to their one partner, wife, girlfriend, whatever, I wish that these men can find a solution. I honestly do wish that they can find a solution, because a lot of them lives have been destroyed because of their inability to keep it together and to stay at home. They've lost millions, they've lost money, they've lost credibility, they've lost their reputation, they've lost so much, right? And it continues to happen. It doesn't matter how many examples you have in front of you, it still continues to happen. And so that's the reason why I wanted to, take some time and just look at this situation, and why is it that we continue to do this, even though we see how it has destroyed many before us, and some of us have lived the experience itself of choosing to go outside and then ended up having a negative outcome, right? And so I'm just curious, like, how are you guys dealing with the internal struggle, right? For some people it's a struggle, for some people it's not. For me, it's not a struggle, right? I'll tell you right now, it's not a struggle. And it's not because, I'm holier than thou. No, it's not a struggle, because I have done the work, the mental work, the spiritual work, right? I've done the work on myself to condition myself to a place where I can function within societal construct without feeling like I'm lacking anything, without feeling like I'm missing out on anything, right? I have done the work on myself. So it's not that I'm holier than thou and think I'm better than you. No, far from it, right? And it's also, when you start to get older in life, certain things start to become more important to you, and things that once used to be important no longer is important, right? And the one thing that is most important to me is peace. And I love peace. I love peace more than anything else. And so therefore, I am going to make sure I have peace by making good decisions, right? And like I said, I also think about the negative impact and effect that infidelity have on not just yourself or your partner, but your children and the family and everything, right? It is a domino effect of destruction that occurs whenever one decides to step out and eventually get caught. So based upon all of those reasons, I stay on my straight line. I stay on my straight line because, I don't want to be held responsible for someone's pain and misery. I don't want to be the one responsible for that. And again, I love peace, so I keep it peaceful. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to look at again is the what if factor, right? What if men were allowed the freedom to responsibly satisfy that desire and that urge, right? The ones that cannot settle, the ones that cannot be disciplined and be faithful with just the one partner, what if they were allowed to have other partners in a responsible way, right? Hear me out for a second, right? Slow your horses. What if they were allowed to say, okay, you can have other people, right? But it's going to be respectful. There are people who actually who live like that in this country and all over, all over the world. There are people who actually live like that, who are part of that dynamic. I once watched a documentary. This was based in, I want to say, Australia. And there was this couple. I forgot the name of the show. But anyways, there was this couple. And madly in love with each other, live together, but they also have, both of them, the man and the woman, both have desires to be with other people intimately. And so they both have like a mutual understanding that they have rules. They lay out the various different rules and expectations from each person. So you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. And they are just completely respectful about it. And it works perfectly for them. Right? It works like a charm. There's no lies, there's no mystery, there's no sneaking around, there's no double life, right? There's none of that, because there's a level of respect and a degree of transparency between both parties. So whenever you are going to go hook up with someone else, I know about it, and vice versa, right? And it works. So what if in our modern society right here in America and other Western countries, what if that was okay? What if women get to a point where they're okay with that? Like, you know what? If that's what you really need, I'm going to give you the green light to do whatever you feel the needs to do. But then outline the rules and regulations and expectations that the man must live within or stay within the perimeter of those rules and regulations. What if? Would that eliminate, or would it decrease infidelity? Because that wouldn't be considered infidelity, would it? I don't think so. If you have the green light to go and have a so-called side chick, then that's not infidelity. Would it kill two birds with one stone, right? You're allowing a man to be able to satisfy that desire, and at the same time removing the mystery, the lies, the double life, etc. out of that equation by having the permission to do so. I don't know, right? This is a difficult conversation, guys. I know it is, right? Because I know some people might be watching right now and thinking, what is he talking about? Did this guy just hit his head or something? No, he didn't. I did not hit my head. I am having a conversation that most people would love to have but are afraid to do so because it's a difficult conversation, right? This is something that plagues our society. It ruins families, right? It ruins families. You see so many ordinary people, celebrities, it don't matter. It ruins lives. The list of people that have lost, and let's not talk about those who have lost their lives because of this. How many people have lost their lives because of infidelity? The lack of trust, the breaking of trust. The pain is so much. It's so great that somebody, the person who suffered the hurt decide they're going to end it all, end that person, and then end themselves. How many stories like that you've heard? So there's clearly an issue with it, right? And for the men who struggle, there's clearly an issue. So I would like to know, how do you fix that? Is it fixable? Why do society demonize this behavior yet promotes it through all these other things? And then look at, they have things like OnlyFans. They have things like OnlyFans, right? Where we already know what that's all about, right? And similar platforms. Why? Why do they have these things? Right? It's because they know naturally men have these desires, and some of them cannot control themselves, and they are going to go seek out a solution for these desires. That's why we have these industries, multi-billion-dollar industries, right? Yet it's still demonized in society when a man decides to step out. So that's why I asked the question, what if, right? Now, that's not for me to decide. It's just me asking the question on behalf of our men, right? But I like to think of solutions. I am a solution-driven, solution-oriented individual. So what is a solution to being faithful and not being an infidel, so to speak? What is the solution, right? I think the solution is Probably not really simple, but step number one, you have to know yourself. As a man, know yourself. Are you capable of being with one woman and one woman only for the rest of your life, or for as long as your relationship may last? Are you? Number one, you have to know that. You have to undeniably know the answer to that question, right? Secondly, when things start to change in your relationship, right? You're growing old, you're growing apart, somebody may be gaining some extra weight, you know, someone might no longer be ambitious and want to grow and evolve, whatever the case might be. When things start to happen that are not favorable, do you have the ability to hang in there? Do you have the ability to address the matter in a constructive way and come to a favorable solution or resolution, right? You have to ask yourself those questions. Now, if your answer is no, I don't have the ability, I can't, I don't want to stick around if she starts gaining too much weight, or I don't have the ability to stick to just one, I can't do it. Okay, then you start there by being honest. You meet someone, she's everything you dream of, you would like to spend your life with her, or at least be with her for a very long time. Be brutally honest, because there are women out there who may be okay with your desires, with, you know, whatever dynamic you want to get into. Be honest. Be honest. Tell her the truth. Hey, I really care about you a lot, and I would like to spend the rest of my life with you, but I find it hard to be with one person for the rest of my life. So at some point in time, somewhere down the road, I would be open to introducing someone else in whatever capacity, right? What are your thoughts on that? Oh, hell no, that's never gonna work for me. Whatever, right? Okay. She has the choice to now walk away, and so do you. Or she might be like, I don't know, I might be open to that. I think I could make that happen. There you go. Right? The other thing is too, because in some cases, and this is another thing that is not talked about not nearly enough, in some cases when men are overly promiscuous and just cannot be satisfied by one person, that's a trauma response. That is a trauma response. It's a traumatic response that I don't even think sometimes the person responding knows that it's a trauma response, right? Something happened in their life in the past, and that is their promiscuous behavior is a byproduct of that something, right? They don't even know. So that's another thing, right? We have to look at that. Are you this way because of a trauma response, or are you this way because that's just naturally how you're wired and you just can't help yourself, right? And if that's the case, you have to go get some help, go seek some help. I'm always going to advocate for therapy, and I'm also going to tell you, controversially speaking, it's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to solve your problem, but it helps with identifying the root cause of your issue, and it can give you a guide, a roadmap on how to resolve that issue. You're going to have to do it on your own, but therapy can guide you on how to do it successfully, right? So in terms of solution, that's kind of where it starts. Be honest with yourself. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Know what it is that you can deal with and what you won't be able to tolerate, right? Make that be very clear at the beginning of your relationship. And if there's acceptance, okay, you proceed. If there's no acceptance, move on, go find somebody else, right? If you enter into a relationship feeling like you got this covered and you can do it, yay, one woman, yeah, I got it. But then you start feeling like, I don't have it. Have that honest conversation with your wife. Have that honest conversation with your partner. Let her know what you're feeling, how you're feeling, right? Maybe a simple conversation between the two of you might help to make you feel better, right? Or maybe to your surprise, she might be open to the idea of you entertaining someone else. Have the conversation. Be honest about it, right? Because when we beat around the bush, when we hide, when we sneak, and we do these things and then eventually get caught, it has devastating impact. Devastating impact. So be honest with yourself first and foremost. Be honest with yourself, and then be honest with the person in your life, the person that is going to be impacted by your actions, right? Be honest. Let your decision and behavior be led and driven by honesty. Let's start there, right? And if you need help, if you feel like this is a big issue that you can't control, go get help. Go seek help. And also become spiritual. Go meditate about it. Pray about it, right? Increase your spirituality, because when you increase your spirituality, it changes your perspective, right? You now become hyper aware, and you understand that not everything that glitters is gold. You understand that, right? You also understand that looks are, and oftentimes is, deceiving. Not because she's beautiful and gorgeous from head to toe means that you should have her, right? Because what you can't see is the trauma, the demons, the pain, the hurt. You can't see those things, right? The disease, you can't see those things. And so when you go take on all of that unknowingly, you left with more than what you bargained for, right? So become spiritual. Invest in your spirituality. Invest in your spiritual self, right? That is another remedy to fixing this situation, because now you start to see things from a different perspective. You start to see beyond the surface, and that helps you to approach things in a much different way than you currently do, right? So I really hope that you get some value from this one. I hope that I was able to sort of dissect the challenge that we face here in the Western world with, infidelity and the need for multiple partners. I hope that I was able to get you to think a little bit or a lot, right? And that this is impactful for you in a positive way, okay? And so that's going to be it for today. Until the next video, guys, let us continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.